Week 2 of Chicago Bears organized team activities at Halas Hall, and Justin Fields had a wow moment. I'm Dan Wiederer of the Chicago Tribune, joined by Dionne Miller of ABC-7. Dionne, I know it's probably similar for you as it is for me. Everywhere you go, people want progress reports on Justin Fields. How's he look? What did he do at practice this week? We've had such a limited time to see him on the field. So when you get a wow moment, as happened Wednesday afternoon in Lake Forest, you have to share it with the masses. So let me share it with the masses. Deep ball down this left sideline. Justin Fields to Damiere Byrd in 7-on-7. My estimation, the ball was in the air at least 60 yards. Touchdown pass, dropped in nicely, right in the end zone. The Chicago Bears offensive sideline erupted in cheers for that play. It was a reminder of the type of high-level talent that Fields has, what it can do to unlock an offense that doesn't get a lot of deep ball touchdown passes.
Yeah.
It's a small appetizer for the masses that want to know the latest on Justin Fields.
Did Sean Desai run out on the field and be like, none of our starters are here? That's why that happened. I mean, but it's tremendous. It is progress. It is what everybody is so excited to see, is that he can do stuff that we've not seen before. I know. Let's all reel it in. It's 7-on-7. They're not in pads or anything like that. But I think it is reason to get excited because it's natural. It looks natural to him. It's something we know that he can do. They know that he can do it at any moment in June and in October. And that's what I think is where there's reason to get excited about something like that from yesterday. And it's what everybody wants to know is how can we make the future September as opposed to next year? And these are little signs that little tidbits that I think fans are going to really cling to and get excited about the season.
Fields 2 years at Ohio State, he led the nation in air yards. That's passing yards on the completion, not after the catch, right? And so you know that he has the ability to hit throws to all three levels of the field. Totally. You see that here in a practice setting. And when he uncorks a shot like he did to Damiere Byrd, it's just that in-person view of what you've seen on Ohio State film over and over again. You say, wow, that looks different. It feels a little different. The ball whistles out of his right hand, and he throws it consistently and with accuracy. The bigger part of that, though, Dionne, I think you heard from Matt Nagy after practice when in talking about that play, he said that Justin has that rip your heart out mentality. And that's where I think the link between Fields and Nagy has a chance to strengthen quicker than it did for Nagy and Trubisky. I felt like Nagy spent 3 years trying to get Mitch in a more consistent, aggressive, and attacking mindset and struggled to get that out of him. Justin Fields has that inside him. He has that rip your heart out mentality. And when you can have that mentality and then back it up with a ball that looks pretty and goes right in stride to your receivers, now all of a sudden you've got something for an offense that, as we've talked about for years, hasn't had enough big plays to unlock them from that bottom 10 tier of NFL offenses.
And hearing Damian Williams say, as soon as he released the ball, you get like a smile on your face because you know it's like perfectly placed. And that is a confidence in behind center that has not been there. And that's for Nagy and for the players that are out there. And I think that is super telling as to how quickly he will progress. I also love, Dan, that everyone of the teammates that we ask, like, what do you see from him? And it's all business. There is no, I don't know. He's winning them over with his leadership, but man, does he seem to have laser focus on, I am here to get this job and to do it well. And that's what the vibe that I'm getting around him is, that his teammates immediately notice just how serious he is, just how committed he is. And to hear Nagy say that when Andy's running the plays, he's standing back there with Flip and he's saying out loud what he should be doing. I mean, that to me is a big victory just a month into his tenure here. There's
no question. I mean, there's rookies that come into the league who realize their potential and they use that as sort of a cushion to be like, all right, I'll just ease in to my NFL career. There's rookies like Justin Fields who realize their potential and say, I'm going to squeeze every ounce out of this potential as fast as humanly possible. And I'm going to work every day to try to make sure my timeline is exactly where it needs to be at every step of the process. There's no rush here, right? We've talked forever. The Bears have set him up with an infrastructure where Andy Dalton can start for a month. He can start for 2 months. He can start for 3 months, and they don't have to rush Justin Fields into action. But Justin Fields is determined to speed up that timeline so that he gets his opportunity to play. And when you see him whistling throws around the field, you understand that there's a level of talent and potential here that's exciting. And what does it do for the Bears offense? Well, hopefully eventually, Matt has talked forever about, hey, we need to be sharper on third downs. We need to be sharper in the red zone. You hit a few big plays. Now all of a sudden the series is over on second down, right?
Right.
You hit a few big plays. Now you don't have to go into the red zone because you just scored from the 45-yard line. Or yesterday, right? It was from about the 40 or
Right.
40 that he threw that football to Damiere Byrd. And you say, wow, you get one or two of those big explosive plays per game. Everything feels different. Everything looks different. It's not a struggle anymore. And now the whole world suddenly doesn't feel as pressure packed, right? As we felt the last 2 years with this Bears offense, week after week, saying we're on the verge. We're going to get it unlocked, and it's never unlocked.
So where does that leave Andy Dalton? Because it felt like when he first spoke to the media last week that he had been assured in some capacity that he will start against the Rams in week 1. But I have to say that when they get to training camp, and if it is clear who the better quarterback is, don't they have to start Fields? Like, isn't that just a moral obligation to do the right thing? So where does that leave Andy Dalton? Where does that leave Nick Foles? Why have we not seen him at all? Like, what's going on there, right? I mean, these are questions that I'm just curious about. I do like that Nagy said that their relationship is starting to form, and how Andy's handling this. Obviously, such a different situation than Mike Glennon. The only reason we compare it is because they both have red hair. That's what I think. But anyway, their relationship and how he's going to learn from Andy because of his experience and that sort of thing. And Dalton understanding why he was brought here, right? Like, this is his chance to try to be that Band-Aid that we've talked about. But I'm interested to see how that will unfold as the veterans come back, and then as he continues to take these steps, and if things come as easily as they started to seem for Justin Fields, if that does speed up the process. Even though Nagy said yesterday, he answered your question, Dan, he said, yeah, I think that Patrick Mahomes benefited from waiting a year. So again, we get back to the no rushing thing, but the eagerness has to be there even for Matt.
So multiple layers to that topic, because I do think you bringing up the Mahomes topic, which I brought up to Matt. And the reason I brought it up to Matt is because obviously this is part of a blueprint of what he experienced in Kansas City in 2017. And it's what gives them confidence that this plan with Fields can work. And so I'm interested in learning from inside the walls there and what it is that Patrick Mahomes picked up as a rookie that helped him become a better quarterback, to become an MVP Super Bowl winner as fast as he was in his NFL career. Matt obviously has answers to some of those questions. He was a little bit roundabout with his answer to that question, but certainly it gives him the idea that Patrick wasn't inhibited in any way, shape, or form by waiting till the 17th week of his rookie season to get his first start. It didn't affect his career, right? Can it affect your career if you start too early? It can. And so that, Dionne, I think is where the Bears are trying to find that balance. I don't think Justin Fields is going to go deep into December before he makes his first start. I just don't. But I don't think he's going to start in September either. And I think part of that is just the natural timeline of a rookie understanding everything he needs to see pre-snap, everything he needs to read post-snap, everything he needs to do Monday through Saturday to get ready for a game. And there is beneficial aspects to watching a 10-year veteran like Andy Dalton do those things,
1,000%.
make the mistakes, and then you go in the film room and you correct Andy's mistakes, right? Without the pressure of Chicago shouting at you through a megaphone, "You stink, kid," and all those things. That's all part of this. I think it is going to take time. You saw some fumbled center quarterback exchanges with Justin Fields on Wednesday. Whether that's a Fields issue, whether that's a center issue, that's up for the coaching staff to determine. But these are things that take time to iron out, wrinkles that will take practices at minicamp, practices at training camp, preseason games to smooth over. And the Bears will have a much more realistic view toward the end of August than they do now about just how ready Justin Fields is. I just think they're smart in playing the game of taking a 10-year veteran to the starting gate.
Yeah.
And saying, just hold this down until Justin is ready. And Andy, being a low maintenance, very, very accomplished professional who's a team first guy, is not going to rock the boat. He's going to do his job. And when it's his time to step aside, he'll step aside gracefully, and then we'll see where it goes.
Ryan Pace is a genius. No, honestly, though, you're right. It does set it up well. And I maintain, he fumbled the snaps because it was 1,000 degrees out there and sweaty palms. That has to be why he fumbled those snaps. But I agree with you that they've set this up so well. My only fear and question that I raise is that Nagy is the Andy Reid way, right? That's how he was when he came in, and he was following that blueprint, whether his personnel could do that or not. Now, I get it. This is his first head coaching job. So that's obviously you're going to go by what you saw. I just hope that blueprint isn't also in Sharpie.
Yeah.
That he isn't able to kind of adjust as he sees what Fields can do and how that works out. That's my only thing is I don't want them to be hell-bent on some sort of plan or blueprint that they can't they can't adjust better.
It's valid.
They couldn't in the past.
It's valid, and Matt has been known to be rigid in certain areas,
Yeah.
and it's hurt them in spots within his first 3 years as a coach on the job here in Chicago. I would say that there's really nothing for the Bears to gain by holding Justin Fields back, and so that's why I continually tell fans that are sort of all worked up on why the Bears aren't declaring Justin Fields their week 1 starter when he's had 6 practices between rookie camp and OTAs at this point. They'll declare him the starter when their eyes tell them that he's ready to be the starter, and they know that time's going to come. Justin Fields is going to be a better quarterback than Andy Dalton. He's just not yet a better quarterback than Andy Dalton. That time will come, and so you just have to use the eye test. I'm big on the eye test. See it to believe it. You don't predetermine anything, and you just let your eyes tell you what they're seeing, and then trust what your eyes are telling you that they're seeing, and that's going to be true with the quarterback position as a whole. Deanne, I think this offense in general, this is a very small snapshot. And I had this conversation with my colleague Brad Biggs at the Tribune about I'm sipping from the Kool-Aid jug for the Bears offense. And again, this is the Kool-Aid jug. It's not the liquor shelf that tells you that they're going to be a top 5 offense.
You're not going to get crazy.
This is just a sip of Kool-Aid over here saying that I think this offense can make progress that feels like progress to the outside world. I feel this cohesion amongst the offensive line that played well down the stretch of last season. You sense that Cole Kmet is ready to take a big step forward in his second year. You look at the running backs room with Tariq Cohen coming back off injury, Damian Williams arriving here, and then obviously David Montgomery, who had a tremendous finish to the 2020 season. And now all of a sudden you say, boy, the pieces are here for this thing to go up. Now, look, they were a bottom 10 offense in the league the last 2 years. All we're asking them is to be like 18th, 19th.
Right.
That I'm sipping on right here now. Like, let's get a number 18 ranked offense here and roll. And I think they can do it.
Top 20.
I think they can do it.
I do. I agree with you on that. And I think it is valuable that they're there. And I like seeing that they are building that camaraderie, especially with the offensive line. I think that Jermaine Ifedi talked about it, and Tevin Jenkins has talked about it. It just being one, and hearing Matt tell that story about the O-line and how they're waiting for each other to do everything together and kind of make that seem like seamless, that they're 5 together in the front, no matter who's out there, that they're all included on it. I think that is going to pay off in the end and going to be very, very valuable for them moving forward. I'm excited about the rest of the veterans coming next week. I assume they're going to be there for mandatory minicamp. I'm interested to see what that will look like and see how Fields adjust. I don't know. I'm excited that we're watching these things because last year we did it, right? Like last year we were on Zoom meetings.
We didn't even have the sneak peek.
No, we had nothing. And thank goodness we have a little bit of this for Justin Fields to make this transition. Thank goodness they have this time. I mean, you heard guys yesterday, Cole Kmet talking about the fact that, gosh, last year we had nothing. Like already we see that how different it is to just be out there. So super valuable that pandemic rookies are hopefully a thing of the past.
Everybody, right? Veterans, pandemic veterans are a thing of the past. Andy Dalton spoke last week. Obviously, he's a newcomer, so he's a bit like a rookie at Halas Hall, but there is chemistry to work on. There's there's timing. There's an ability of understanding how do I communicate with each one of these teammates, right? And how do guys like to be criticized and how do they like to be loved up at times? There's a lot of things that go into learning that. And so I think this June period, as minimal as it is to the outside world, it's an important bridge to set yourself up for a successful training camp. When they get into training camp, they got a lot of work to get done. They're going to play 3 preseason games this year. Those are going to be valuable for us to watch as well. We didn't have those a year ago. And so we flew into the regular season of 2020 pretty blind, not knowing what Trubisky looked like, not knowing what Foles would look like if he took over. In the end, it added up to an 8-8 season and a playoff loss, and it was like, oh, okay, that didn't surprise us all that much. But maybe this team can surprise you if they can generate some momentum in this period, particularly offensively, and then carry that forward into training camp and really hit the ground with more, I guess, comfort and confidence, right? And when you talk about the optimism, the offense, the questions you have is where is the quality of depth at wide receiver, and just how do Andy and Justin grow in this offense, individually and collectively? How do they grow in this offense to set the Bears up to play winning football when the regular season starts? Those are huge questions going into the end of July and August, and hopefully they can sort of get on the runway here to set themselves up to take flight.
Yeah, well, I will say in middle June, I guess we are right now, and it's so hot outside. We're talking about the Bears, a 60-yard pass. Nagy took his mask off. There are reasons to be excited, and hopefully we'll be able to get back to that normalcy where we can bring the fans more closer to this team than we were able to last year.
So what does that mean? That means when training camp starts, we want to be able to take our masks off. We're fully vaccinated. We're outside. We're ready to rock. It means we also want to minimize the use of Zoom interviews. I tweeted about that on Wednesday afternoon. You quote tweeted it. There's a lot of people in our corner saying, let's get back to real interviews instead of one question, get muted, and you're done for the day. I really want to have conversations with coaches and players of the Chicago Bears to learn more about this team. It seems like we should be on that track to get there. Hopefully. I'm begging.
Same. Urgent prayers and fasting for sure. I'm tired of doing Zooms in my car, Dan. Like the Ford Escape is not a backdrop for working. So
it's hot. You got the overhead light in there. In my case, I'm not going to name my cell provider, but it's a little spotty, and I freeze up, and then they're like, "Oh, hold up, Dan, we can't hear you. We'll come back to you." And then it's like one of those ones where I talk and it starts out slow, and then it picks up really fast to catch up in the audio. It's all just a mess. I'm tired of sitting in the front seat and doing this. I just want to talk to a person.
Yes.
I'll stand 15 feet away if it gives me 5 consecutive questions in person with anyone.
Does that mean that eventually we'll be doing these sitting next to each other?
I don't know.
I don't know either. I think that would be weird.
This is also very convenient also, because
it's so convenient.
We don't have to meet anywhere,
It's so great. All right, guys. Well, we have more to come, so much more to talk about as veterans get set to come back. But subscribe, share. We appreciate you.
You know the drill.